On August 21st, 1831, Nat Turner, an enslaved black carpenter, led a rebellion of both enslaved and free black people in Southampton County, Virginia. Nat Turner's rebellion led to the deaths of 55 white men, women, and children before state militias brought it to an end. In retaliation, soldiers and local mobs killed around 120 black men, women, and children, many of whom had no part in the revolt. Turner was captured in October 1831 and executed the following month after a trial. Before his execution, he shared his account with attorney Thomas Ruffin Gray, who published it as The Confessions of Nat Turner in November 1831. 60 years ago, on August 21st, 1965, Gemini 5, a crewed spaceflight in NASA's Project Gemini, became the third crewed Gemini flight, the 11th crewed American spaceflight, including 2 X-15 flights above 100 kilometers, and the 19th human spaceflight of all time. It marked the first time a United States crewed spaceflight held the world record for mission duration, achieved on August 26, 1965, when Gemini 5 surpassed the Soviet Union's record from Vostok 5 in 1963. The mission could have lasted an extra day, but it was shortened because of the threat of Hurricane Betsy. The crew of Gemini 5 consisted of command pilot Gordon Cooper, who was on his second and last spaceflight, and pilot Pete Conrad, who's on his first spaceflight. On August 21st, 1992, the Ruby Ridge standoff took place in Boundary County, Idaho, when United States Marshals attempted to arrest Randy Weaver on a bench warrant for missing a court appearance, an absence caused by an incorrect court date he had been given. The case was based on Weaver's sale of a sawed-off shotgun to an undercover informant, who had persuaded him to shorten the weapon below the legal barrel length. During a surveillance operation at Ruby Ridge, Deputy U.S. Marshal Art Roderick shot Randy Weaver's dog, prompting a confrontation in which Weaver's 14-year-old son Samuel fired at the marshals. Samuel was shot in the back and killed, and in the exchange, Weaver's friend Kevin Harris killed Deputy Marshal William Dagan. Weaver, Harris, and Weaver's family refused to surrender, leading to an FBI hostage rescue team siege. FBI sniper Lon Horiuchi wounded Weaver, shot Harris, and fatally shot Weaver's wife, Vicky. Civilian negotiators, including activist Bo Gritz, eventually persuaded the group to surrender, Harris on August 30th and Weaver with his daughters the following day. Weaver and Harris were later tried on multiple federal charges, including first-degree murder, but both were acquitted of all charges connected to the standoff. Weaver was only convicted of missing a court appearance and violating bail conditions tied to the original firearms case. The Weaver family and Harris pursued civil suits against the government. The Weavers received a $3.1 million settlement in 1995, while Harris was awarded $380,000 in 2000. In 1997, sniper Lon Horiuchi was indicted for Vicky Weaver's death, but the case was later dismissed. The federal agency's actions drew heavy criticism. The Department of Justice's Office of Professional Responsibility formed the Ruby Ridge Task Force, which questioned the conduct of all involved agencies. A Senate subcommittee also launched hearings in 1995, ultimately recommending reforms in federal law enforcement. The events at Ruby Ridge, along with the Waco siege months later, were cited by Oklahoma City bombers Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols as motivations for their attack. And 30 years ago, on August 21st, 1995, Atlantic Southeast Airlines Flight 529, an Embraer 120RT Brasilia flight from Atlanta, Georgia to Gulfport, Mississippi, crashed in the community of Burwell between the cities of Bowdoin, Georgia and Carrollton, Georgia. The crash killed 1 crew member and 8 passengers, making it a total of 9 fatalities. The accident was similar to Atlantic Southeast Airlines Flight 2311, which had taken place 4 years earlier and claimed the lives of all 23 passengers and crew. Investigations into both crashes determined that defects in the design of the airplane's propellers were the probable cause. The captain of the flight was Edwin Gananaway, 45, who had 9,876 total hours of flying experience, including 7,374 flight hours in the Embraer Brasilia. The first officer was Matthew Warmerdam, 28, who was hired by the airline in April 1995 and had logged a total of 1,193 flight hours, including 363 hours in the Embraer Brasilia at the time of the accident. And the sole flight attendant was Robin Fetch, 35, who was hired by the airline in February 1993 and had completed her last recurrent training in January 1995. Well, that's all I have for the events for today. If you like what you hear, leave a comment down below and subscribe. This is Stephen Luke, and I'll see you next time for another history update.